Hello, friends, and welcome to Figure Study, where we appreciate the form in Transformers. Today, taking a look at more Titans Return stuff with Hot Rod. Now, I know that this isn't closed all the way. I just intentionally have it like that because it's a pain for me to pry it open otherwise. Because, of course, I'm going to be taking the Titan Master out later. But anyway, Hot Rod. This is, I mean, you know, it's Hot Rod. Like there's no mistaking that. He's a big red wedge-shaped sports car with a huge yellow spoiler on the back. I mean, you know, what can you say? The car, I think, actually does look really nice. It's got that, you know, from the 80s when we think this is what the future will look like kind of motif, which, I mean, it's Hot Rod, you know. They weren't going to change it too drastically, I don't think. I keep saying it's Hot Rod, I'm sorry. But I do like the look of this vehicle mode. I like how you've got these, like the spoilers connect to the back here instead of just being attached in the middle, which it's a simple little detail, but actually I'm quite into that because it looks a little bit more, I don't know, right to me. Like having the spoiler attached like that is kind of what it would be like on a car. And of course you got the big pipes that are gray in this case and not silver, but And I do honestly like the back of the vehicle. I think especially this area here, how you've got this sort of like maybe engine, maybe exhaust port thing here, and like these possible other exhaust ports here. It looks pretty nice. And going into the front, you can see here, back it up a little bit because my lighting is not the best, but got a little bit of grille detail here, which these kind of curve around to what will become the shoulders, but you know, not a terrible undercarriage. But I do like how they've got the little grille detail there, which when he's in robot mode completely folds up. So, pardon me. So that was a detail they left in just for the vehicle. And of course, for the hood, again, it's very similar to Hot Rod, like typical Hot Rod. Got like these nice curvy swoopy lights, and of course the flames, the yellow and orange flames, the big silver engine, and I'm glad that they painted that silver instead of just leaving it gray. And a little lot about logo. I mean, he's Hot Rod, what can you say? Well, what I will say is I really like this deep blue that they have going on for the windshield here. It's just, that is a very pleasing color to me. It's very, I don't want to say soothing, but it's just a really nice, rich, deep blue color, and I'm all about that. And there's surprisingly not a ton of molded detail in vehicle mode for Hot Rod. So, you know, a little bit of detail on the tires, which aren't painted, but in this case, given the shape of the tires and the detailing there, I'm not all that broken up about them not being painted silver, as I usually am, because, I don't know, just they don't necessarily look like they would be painted or would be silver regardless, so I think that's fine. That spoiler has a ton of paint on it, though, and you can kind of make out some line details in there, but because of this shade of yellow, it's really not that easy to make out. And unfortunately, there is a little bit of, like on the underside here, you can kind of see like some of the paint didn't quite, like could have used a second pass, I think, but not really looking at it from that angle anyway. That engine does look nice though. And there is some molding for the headlights, which don't really know why, but hey, it works. Yeah, I mean, he's a simple, straightforward, he's a simple, straightforward Hot Rod, and I like it. I really, you know, I do. It's not a bad looking car. And then, get this open here. And then we have his Titan Master who's sitting in there. And we'll just pop him out and take him off to the side. Because, of course, they've molded some interior stuff in the inside of the vehicle, which I always appreciate. Not quite as over the top as the detail they put into Blur, but still, I always appreciate when they mold detail on the inside of the vehicles. So, vehicle mode, and now the Titan Master is, I mean, it's okay. Aside from being entirely gray, it's not bad looking, just kind of, you know, it's a little robot. Little tiny robot. Not a whole lot I can say about him because I don't know who the character is, I don't care who the character is, and he's just gray all the way through. But did not forget this time. For size comparison, there you go. He's, you know, Titans Return Deluxe. They all are. Although I will say he's a little bit taller in robot mode. So, how about we get to that? And here we have Hot Rod in his robot mode, who his shoulders are so high they barely fit on the edges of the screen. So, I also really like this robot mode. I think he does a really good job of just kind of things shifting around to make limbs, and he ends up being surprisingly not necessarily skinny, but not as bulked out as some of the other Titans Return figures, specifically like some of the Autobots, which is fine. I think it's good that he stands out. I mean, I don't mind it, and also it's Rodimus, or Hot Rod. You know, from what I recall from the different versions, he's never been a particularly beefy guy. But he looks good. I mean, I think proportionally speaking, his arms might be a touch on the long side and just kind of look a little bit awkward. Like they just, I don't know, hands are down a little bit too far, I think. But other than the fact that his arms look a little too long, which might also be because of the massive shoulders, you know, proportionally speaking, I'm all about it. Definitely into it. Again, it's Rodimus, or I keep saying Rodimus, it's Hot Rod. So, you know, nice color scheme. That primarily orange and red, a little bit of gray and silver here and there, and then just a little bit of that yellow on the chest. Which, of course, once upon a time was the hood of the vehicle mode. And that does look really nice. And I actually like how the way that everything separates out and the nose kind of folds in, you get these like little bits of orange down here that just kind of add a little bit more definition to his torso. And you've got that little gray stomach area there, which I think also kind of helps to differentiate things out a little bit more, keep him from being just a huge slab of red and orange. And the legs, I really like his legs. Specifically, like the knees down. The way this transforms and shifts around, it looks really nice to me. I think it's cool how the exhaust ports, like they make really nice looking knees. And then that little strip of silver is just, it's nice that it goes like from that gray down to the silver, down to the gray for the foot. It really kind of leads the eye. And I am a fan. Yeah, he is a good looking dude. He is also not covered in molded detail, but he does have more texture to him, which is a bit more common. You know, like this in robot mode is a bit more like Titans Return-ish, where he's got some nice mechanical molding in here, even some on the insides here. If we lift that up, you can kind of see he's even got some in there. And actually, yank his head off real quick, because I wanted to show this off. We pull up his chest, and of course, flip out the nose. So you can see now that's the front of the car there. There's actually a fair bit of molded detail on the inside here, and even on the underside here. Which, you know, again, there's no reason for that, but I appreciate it anyway. It looks nice. Now let's see if I can attach his head again. It's sometimes a little bit of pain. I don't know what it is about this particular guy, but his head does not like to go on easy. There. And then, of course, the light gray, white, I guess white, for the sort of headlights for the front of the car now curve around and make some nice little shoulder details there. You can actually kind of see he does have his little, like, I don't know what you would call it, the gel cap looking wrist decorations there. They're just not painted. But yeah, he is a good looking robot, and I've heard I've seen some videos where people were complaining about the wing on his back, especially in conjunction with the large shoulders that you can't really see the wing. And yeah, I completely agree with that. It does not bother me in the slightest, but I can totally understand why some people would be kind of like, oh man, because yeah, he does kind of lose a bit of the hot rod profile, or silhouette I should say, with it down there, barely visible. But other than that, I actually really do like this guy. This was another one that I picked up at Walgreens because, as I've said, I have terrible luck at Toys R Us, but Walgreens seems to have everything I'm looking for. Picked him up on a whim and do not regret it in the slightest. He's very neat. And the head, from what I am familiar with the character, that is a pretty hot rod head, which is also nicely painted with that, the red, white, and blue. A little bit of blue for the eyes. It stands out just enough, I think. I mean, some of this head detail in the red section gets lost just because of the shade. Oh, sorry. Just because of the shade of red that they used. Because there is some nice detail in that helmet, but it's unfortunate that a lot of it is lost just because of the fact that it kind of blends in. But hey, that face, that really stands out. You look at that from a distance, you are not going to lose track of where his face is. Or his eyes, really. They stand out just enough. So yeah, I mean, he's Hot Rod, minus the giant wing on his back, but he is definitely Hot Rod. And then for a quick size comparison, there he is with Samus. And, he's about the size of a regular Titans Return Deluxe, but he's just a little bit taller, mostly not just in the shoulders, but the head stands just a little bit taller. I guess technically you could say he's a little lankier. So I guess as opposed to some of the other figures where their mass kind of goes out, his kind of goes up. But hey, it works for me. It makes me happy. I really like, again, minus the wing being kind of in the wrong place. I think he's got a nice profile. I think the colors are good. I really like these knee to foot sections of his legs. They please me. I like the exhaust ports for knees. They look neat. And even on the back, honestly, when you've got these kind of pipes on his arms here that also kind of show up on the back of his calves, you're not going to look at the figure from the back really, but it's a nice sort of I know they were just tucking it out of the way, but it almost seems intentional with the way that some of that design is sort of mirrored here. It just kind of ties his appendages together a bit from certain angles. I don't know. I'm reading too much into it, but I don't freaking care. It's my video. I can do what I want. I think it looks cool. So yeah, Titans Return Hot Rod. He's neat. I mean, yeah, all I have to do is get my hands on a trigger happy and I will be set for Wave 3. It's just a matter of finding one or breaking down and paying too much. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, that has been my look at Titans Return Hot Rod. He is pretty darn cool. Don't know if I put him in my top 3, but I'm very glad I have him. I'm not going to be getting rid of him. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching. As per usual, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Any combination of those 3 would make me a happy Rob. And remember, art is more than meets the eye.